really going to affect title companies. Uh-oh, got it. Okay, sorry, my phone just told me something. We think it's really going to affect title companies and their inability to represent sellers going forward. So the implications of that are going to be, I think more business for the law firms. I don't see that it is directly going to affect what we're doing here, aside from, when we represent seller sides. I think, the buyer side is no longer going to be able to call our fee a settlement fee. There's only allowed to be one settlement agent. We think that this may have been in response to a practice that's going on in Charlottesville and some other jurisdictions up in Northern Virginia, where instead of the buyer side, the actual settlement agent wiring the payoff, sending the payoffs directly to the mortgage company for the seller. They would send the payoffs to the seller's attorney's office to then send to the mortgage company to have that mortgage lien paid off. So that's a true split settlement, in that both sides are doing different parts of what is the settlement agent's job, and that is to fully disperse on the file. So here in Hampton Roads, the settlement agent, the party that acts as the settlement agent is the one that represents the buyer. And although the seller side is handling getting the deed signed, getting the documents, giving us the payoff from the seller, I see ourselves, when we're on the buyer side, that we're the ones responsible for making sure that deed is correct. I'm going over it with clients at the closing table to make sure, hey, we don't have any typographical errors or anything like that. So we want to make sure that, the deed that we present for recording is accurate. Those payoffs that we get, we're checking them to find out, okay, is the good through date far enough out? Is it an up-to-date payoff? Are they in arrears? Is there, any issues with that? And if a payoff comes back, which occasionally, sometimes that happens, we send the funds out to the payoff and it comes back to us for, a variety of reasons. I see that as our responsibility, even though it's not our client's mortgage. And so it often involves us working with the seller side to resolve those issues. If the payoff happens to be short, if there's more funds needed, we're trying to work with the seller sides to get those funds. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I see that as our responsibility as the buyer side. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what it looks like going forward. We've seen some responses from Old Republic, some of the bigger title, the underwriters that we see around here, Fidelity, Stewart, and Old Republic. Old Republic's already come out with apparently a ruling on it. I haven't had a chance to review that. I know one title company, for instance, has already said they're not going to do any more seller sides. So I've already heard that. I'm interested, and I'm still going to follow up with some of the bigger ones in the area, Priority, and see kind of what their stance and take on it is. But yeah, it looks like a pretty big shakeup. So any questions on that? I don't know if any of you guys had a chance to look at that, or if discussions were had on it.
Lauren and I had discussions pretty in depth. Did you have any questions on it before Lucy goes down? I think it's pretty good. I think we kind of hashed it out anyway that night. We were going back and forth. She's the only one I really went deep with.
So are you saying that a title company can no longer represent sellers, period, if there's a title company on the buyer side? Can they do both sides? Can it be a dual both sides handled at that one title company?
Yeah, that's a great question. Could a title company just handle the entire settlement of the transaction? And I think that they could ultimately do both sides. I think that'd be the only way for them to handle the transaction, is if they are just doing both sides of it. It'll be interesting to see, though, if we're going to see sort of a pushback for, because we have plenty of seller clients that want us to handle them and represent their side of the transaction. And if there's a title company on the buyer side, if they're going to now have to insist that the seller uses them for representation, or that they're going to have to charge the seller for doing certain aspects that would typically be pushed off on the seller side. And that's going to put sellers, that could potentially put sellers in a predicament, right? Like, do I want to pay you as an attorney to represent me, also in addition to having to pay, you know, the buyer's title company to handle their side of the transaction? So not fully sure on that just yet. So stay tuned. That may be a good topic for the next meeting, but we're looking into that at this point. So
rolling forward a little bit on that, what about Jones Walker and Lake representing both sides of the deal?
We can do that. We do that every day. So yeah, the good news on this is it you know, though we have a title company, you know, the law firm is the settlement agent. We're the ones conducting the closings, and those of you that are doing business with us, business as usual. We keep going. So yeah, absolutely.
So we can then put out as listing agents that our attorney will handle both sides of the deal, just so you all know.
Yeah, as long as you know, the ethics rules apply, you know, in every closing. I mean, we can only represent one party. So anytime we have a situation where both folks want to use this, we just have to explain, hey, as long as everybody is comfortable and okay with the understanding that if, you know, issues or conflicts arise, we'd essentially be conflicted out of representing either party in that instance. We couldn't handle both sides in a conflict resolution. But of course, with agents involved, usually you guys handle sort of the negotiating and working out the details. But I'm sure you all know there are some clients that are just, you know, they need that extra hand holding, or, you know, there may be disputive combative. So you'll be able to make that determination of whether do we really want to have them handle both sides in this instance in case we see an issue down the road. But yeah, you can certainly let folks know that, and as long as everybody agrees to it, absolutely, we can take care of it.
That's a good point, Austin. So in the past, I have had this happen where we were turning in our paperwork, and another company, another brokerage, had turned their paperwork in first to Austin, and of course, we both wanted to use them, right? Just because we have a joint venture with them doesn't mean we get first dibs on it. So it's whoever turns that paperwork in first. So whenever you have a listing, even though it's not under contract, you need to let them know that that's who we're using, right? Because even though it's before it's ratified, you need to tell them, hey, we're using you. That way he can say, or the processor, you know, can say, well, they're using us already. You guys would have to be the ones to make a choice to go somewhere else, right? So make sure you tell them on the listing, you know, obviously buyers are going to turn it immediately. Make sure you tell them on the listing portion, hey, we're using you guys. You know, go ahead and tell them ahead of time before it even goes under contract. But we have had that just not very often, but a few times over the years. We've had that, and now we have 4 attorneys. So just make sure when you ask those questions, because Austin and I were talking at lunch last week, and we're just like, we don't know why anybody wouldn't use an attorney whenever we have now 4, and they answer your questions for free, right? I think everybody here uses them anyway, but they will, you know, answer the phone, answer emails. I always say email is best because they could be in a closing. So if you email all 4 of them, the first person that gets out of their closing will respond, and that way also you'll have it in writing, because sometimes whenever someone tells you something on the phone, as busy as we are, it gets lost. And so I like it whenever he types it out for you guys. I prefer that. And I know they tell you that you can call them, and you can. But for me as the broker, I prefer you emailing them so that you can get the first one available. And then also you'll have it in writing. And that way Lucy and I can help you with with anything that's needed, and we can kind of read what they said. You know, you don't have to regurgitate, go back over again. It's just a lot better. So thank you, Austin, for that. I'll let you continue to talk.
Absolutely.
Now that I interrupted you.
Yeah, no worries.
I dropped my email and Sandra's email in the chat, so everybody should have that. And again, we can probably send an email out afterwards with all our emails on here, so everybody has that. And then I have to run to another meeting, but I just wanted to hop on and say good morning, everybody. And it's super nice to meet you all, and I'll see you soon.
Nice to virtually meet you, Jesse. And then everybody else, I have a text going out to you guys. Admin's putting it together now, so you have all 4 of those emails we'll have it in a text within the hour. And then it's also for anyone who's a mentor, it's also on the welcome email for anybody that's coming in. Did you have a question? No. Okay. All right, go ahead, Austin.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think we kind of covered that. The other topic that came up was escrows, and that's something I think we may have talked about before, but just sort of a kind of a recap. Situations come up where you feel like there are some things, maybe some work that wasn't done or completed on a PICRA. And oftentimes, we'll say, well, we'll just escrow, and so it's a little more complicated than that. So I just wanted to kind of discuss that. So, whatever the case may be, and we see it frequently, it's something with the walkthrough. You go through the walkthrough and the gas logs are not working, the tub's not, the bubble jets or whatever are not running, the sauna, those things. The first thing, so if you're at that walkthrough and you see like, okay, here's the problem, the buyers are, in the conversation that I have with every buyer, whenever there's an escrow situation presented or somebody wants to do that, or if there's anything with the walkthrough involved, when I sit down with buyers, if you've sat with me, you've probably heard me have this conversation. Is okay, well, first, is the issue something that you're comfortable still going to closing? And then ultimately, if it doesn't get resolved, you're fine. You're going to be happier having closed and dealing with that issue yourself, as opposed to waiting to close and having the seller address it. The biggest motivator is often the closing, and everybody is working very hard to make the closing happen. And sometimes once that closing occurs, the motivation, the push, the drive to get on the phone with multiple contractors to really kind of make things happen, sometimes that motivation goes away once the closing takes place. And so I always have this conversation of, are you okay? Ultimately, even though you have a seller that maybe says, oh, we'll get this done, a listing agent says, absolutely, we're going to take care of it, no problem at all. I like to prepare folks for the reality that sometimes it just doesn't happen. And of course, some buyers are in a situation, especially in this market, you may have a situation where the buyers aren't taking possession for a little while, or they've been living in a hotel for weeks with the kids and the dogs. And it's like, okay, anything is going to be better than that situation. We want to make closing happen. So that would be the first conversation, is just, okay, where are you at on that? As far as if things don't go according to plan, are you comfortable? You think you're going to be happy having closed and having to address this yourself? The second thing, escrows are often, nowadays, lenders are not allowing them. And what I mean by that, they're not allowing the attorney, the settlement agent, to handle the escrows. They want to be the ones that are in control of it. And I used to think that this was only just a, maybe an FHA or a VA loan situation, but I've seen it on conventional loans. And we used to think that, conventional loans, they don't really care. The termite clear letter, not a big deal. It's conventional. They're not as worried. They're protected. But I've seen it even on conventional loans now. So I think it's going to be a lender by lender basis on whether they're going to be comfortable with our office or another office handling the escrow for any repairs. And so if you really want to make sure that everything stays rolling, that would be the first call to make. And I would make it at the house. There's going to be an issue. Go ahead and call that loan officer, get them on the phone and say, hey, we're looking at some things that are not completed. I've already talked to my buyer. They're comfortable with going forward to closing. And if the listing agent's comfortable with the, escrowing funds, is that going to be something that the lender is comfortable with? And are they going to allow the attorney's office to hold it? We had a situation where, conventional loan, a $1 million plus purchase price. He was only borrowing $400,000 on the acquisition, and the escrow is going to be like $2,000 or $3,000 for some gas logs. And the lender was like, absolutely, closing is not going to happen today. We're going to be the ones that are responsible for it. Send us the list of items, and we'll look at an escrow agreement and where to go from there. And these buyers are like, never mind. We'll just handle this outside of closing. We don't want to delay so that this lender can get on board. So that'll be the first call. You want to make sure, just check find out from the loan officer that they're comfortable, with our office handling the escrow. The second thing is to be aware of is there are additional costs involved with escrowing. For us to do it, we have to draft an escrow agreement that everybody has to sign. And it basically just states what the duties and obligations are. That, okay, here's the work that needs to be done. Here's the funds that we're going to be putting in escrow. And this is the time frame, when we expect these windows to come in. And then what happens if they don't in that time frame? Okay, well, then the buyer has the opportunity to do X, Y, and Z and submit invoices for it. And then, we can then pay that contractor as opposed to, so there's there's a little bit involved in that process of finding out, okay, what funds, how are we going to use them, when to disperse, what happens if, there's some disagreement down the road. And so all those things have to be addressed in an escrow agreement, which we're charging $250 to draft, to prepare, to circulate. So that's another thing to just sort of can keep in mind. And, if you and the listing agent are having this discussion, okay, well, here's the item that wasn't complete, or here's what's broken now. Who's going to pay for the escrow? Are we going to split it? If this is a seller issue, perhaps the seller should pay for it. Those are going to be discussions you'll have to sort of do some strategy over and figure out the best way to do that. But, there are some fees involved in that process. And so just to be aware and have that not be as a surprise at the closing table. And then also just sort of planning with the time frame too. If this is 4:30 on a Friday afternoon, that's going to be a more difficult situation. It's harder to get answers from everybody at that time of day. So that's something to consider too, as far as, when scheduling your closing, anticipating, okay, if this home looks like, if we see this PICRA has 1,000 items, we may want to set our closing early in the week, early in the day, to give us some time to make sure that nobody's gone home for the day and we can get issues resolved. So, that's kind of, what I had to discuss on escrows. Did anybody have any questions on that, thoughts, concerns?
Just in case.
Okay. So the buyer is getting escrow for their EMD. When you were saying that they have to get it authorized from the lender, this is totally separate than that type of escrow being held?
Absolutely. Yeah, great question. So yeah, the EMD will be made at the beginning. The situation I'm referring to is when there's an issue, something that should be addressed that the seller should pay for, but maybe we don't know what that looks like. We haven't gotten a contractor's invoice, and I should have mentioned that too. That's going to always be sort of our preferences. Well, let's get a quote. Let's get a contractor out there right now. Tell us what we're looking at and how much is it going to cost to repair, replace, fix, remediate, and let's just them to give us an invoice for that and go ahead and stick it on the seller side, and then have this check either held by our office until somebody calls and says, hey, the work's been done, everything's good, or just we'll have situations where we'll just go ahead and give that check to the buyer to hang on to. Okay, once the windows come in, you go ahead and pay, or the flooring comes in, you go ahead and pay the contractor there with this check that's already made payable to them. So yeah, that situation is going to be different from the earnest money deposit. It's going to be when there's something that needs to be addressed or remediated, that we're wanting to close, even though it's still not fixed at that point. And maybe because of the time of day, the soonest the plumber can get out there is tomorrow morning. Buyers are comfortable and the loan officer's fine with it, just to go ahead and have some money of the sellers held in escrow in the file in our trust account until whatever the issue is can be resolved and we can get an invoice paid and taken care of at that point.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
So I've had a scenario last year where I was the listing agent and there was an item at walkthrough, unbeknownst to anybody, but it was faulty, so it needed to be taken care of, closing on a Thursday. So of course you're thinking, okay, well, and the seller said, no problem, we'll get it taken care of tomorrow afternoon. Buyer said, okay. So as far as I'm aware, Thursday afternoon, everybody signs. Not aware of anything. So Friday, I called the buyer's closing agent who does disbursement and recordation. And they said, well, the buyer says that they weren't satisfied. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is the first time I'm hearing it. Let me take care of it. So are you not going to record? No, we're not going to record. They did not record until Tuesday. What kind of legality falls in there that you can keep, you can wait to record? How many days legally is there allowed?
Yeah, so great question. Stacy, I think it was. I couldn't see on the screen there, but
Yes, it's me.
yeah, so the code requires disbursement on the file to take place within 48 hours, or 2 business days after the closing. So if they closed on a Friday, then that would allow until Tuesday, as long as Monday wasn't a holiday. So yeah, that is the obligation, but there are, there are many instances where, for one reason or another, the disbursement on a file doesn't take place until days afterwards. And we've seen situations where, in those instances, the buyer is signed on the day of closing. They got funds, as far as we know, everything's great. And then, if it's on a Friday and then something over the weekend happens, we had an instance where a basement flooded over a weekend, and then they pulled back the closing, which, I think one could debate on whether that's something you could actually do, at that point, once the closing has taken place. But, as is often the case in real estate, you're dealing with parties that essentially want the same thing we're looking towards the same goal. We want it to happen, and nobody's really interested in spending thousands of dollars in attorney's fees to try to litigate the issue. It's just, okay, well, let's get this done. How do we get to this point? So to your question, I think, they would technically be out of the realm of what's allowed by the Code of Virginia, which as a settlement agent is a problem. But, I couldn't sit here and tell you that every file that we've closed, we have dispersed in 48 hours. That's unfortunately the nature of the business. Sometimes it's, things that are sellers' issues. Hey, we still don't have the signed deed yet. What's happened? Oh, the FedEx was lost, or, we had some issues earlier in the year last year where FedEx was having a problem getting things through Memphis. Of course, you had the big ice storm in Texas, and so that caused some delays as well. So there are situations that come up, but it is an obligation that a settlement agent has, and you never want to be in a situation where you're not complying with the law as a lawyer. That's a problem.
I have.
Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have one more question. As the attorney, how would you like to see signatures on a contract that are attached to a power of attorney?
So the power of attorney is signing for the seller or the buyer?
Correct.
Okay. There's a couple of different ways to do it. The way we often structure it when we're doing power of attorneys is Austin Lake as power of attorney, or as attorney in fact for Thomasina Tatterson, or so some variation of that is where you have party A as attorney in fact for, or you have it, that'd probably be the easiest way. I've seen it set up different ways. You can use abbreviations, AIF, attorney in fact. That's usually the language you use.
Okay, the way I've always taught it is that, let's say you're the seller and Thomasina's got your power of attorney. So I would have the agent put, Thomasina would sign your name, and then by Thomasina Tatterson, attorney in fact. Yeah,
no, that is perfectly legit. That is a way that we'll see that done, and so yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and then is it okay to abbreviate that? If we can't fit attorney in fact and all of that, is it by POA, is that acceptable?
Yeah, you can use POA. Often the initials that we'll see is AIF for attorney in fact. But on the contract, as long as it's, and I always tell folks, whenever you're signing in some other capacity than individually, you always want to make that clear. Whether it's an attorney in fact situation or power of attorney, you want to make it clear that, hey, it's not. I'm not signing this contract for myself. I'm not bound by the obligations and the rights and the duties here. I'm signing for somebody else. And so as long as you're making that clear on the signature line, I think there's going to be some fluctuation there. So POA, AIF, those are going to be fine because it's going to be essentially that's going to communicate that, hey, I'm acting in a representative, an agent capacity rather than individually.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions online or here? All right. Austin, thank you so much. We'll make sure we get all 4 of those email addresses out so that everyone has them, and we will educate everybody to copy all 4 when they send. And as always, thank you for everything you guys do. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Great working with you guys. Looking forward to seeing you soon.
Always. All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.
So next, I believe we have a video from Cragen.
Hey everybody, Captain Mortgage, Craig and Bear here again with Lessons Learned from a Lender. Sorry I couldn't be there today. I'm actually in one of these jets right here flying to Arizona to meet one of my best friends. Anyway, so I want to talk to you guys about rate hikes. We all have heard about the rates are going to be going up. Well, since we met last time, they've gone up significantly. So just wanted to let you guys know that Bloomberg, JP Morgan, who we have here on the screen that you all are being presented, have all come out with, they're going to come out with at least 5 rate hikes this year, which is significant for us and our borrowers. Bloomberg actually came out recently and said that there's a potential that they're predicting 7 rate hikes, which is completely insane. But with the low unemployment and the high inflation, it's really going to start to affect our rates even more throughout the rest of the year. So if you have borrowers that were pre-qualified maybe in February, things could change when they finally find that home in April. So yeah, I hope everybody has a great week and has a great rest of the month. And if you have any questions, feel free to call me, text me. Everybody have a great day. Captain Mortgage out.
So even though he's not here, he wanted to be. So of course, any questions you guys have, you can text him. He's leaving today, so he's still here, but he's working as we all do, right? Just vacation, just another scene of working. Yeah, just another scene. But I can sit here and tell you guys not to. But text him any questions that you guys have. For those of you that are does not practice what she preaches, Chrissy, I need you to settle down. Just settle down, ma'am. I want to give you guys his phone number though, just in case you don't have it. If you have any questions, 757-412-9062, 757-412-9062. If you have any questions on what he just discussed, feel free to text him and he will answer those. All right, insurance minutes.
Hey guys, Sarah Dobson here. Alex Bird is doing.
If you want to go back, I think they can see you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to position it to where if everyone goes there, I think they can see you.
Oh, to the podium.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm giving a speech.
Yes.
Awesome. Good morning, guys. Sarah Dobson here, Prosper Insurance. Alex Bird is teaching a social media seminar, but I've got my colleague Alex Salage here. She heads up on the Peninsula side. And one thing I just kind of want to put out to you all to keep in mind, as you just heard Craig say, these mortgage rates continue to creep up. But instead of having your clients shop their rate, their percentage rate with mortgage, what could they shop to help that will impact the mortgage payment and potentially keep it lower as the interest rates continue to rise? Home insurance, yes. So instead of shopping your rate with a bunch of different lenders, obviously, we want to use our preferred lenders, have them shop their insurance. And Prosper, we work with 30 different companies. So we're going to collect your client's information and put it through our system. We have a rater, and it's going to shop it through all of our different carriers and it's gonna find the best policy with really great coverage, but also with a lower rate. And what's gonna happen is one of our dedicated sales agents, they'll reach out to your client, get the information, shop the insurance, and then go over all the quotes with your client. So they make the decision that is best for them. They're educated, they know what they're getting. They're getting a policy with great coverage, low rate, great deductibles. They don't have like a $15,000 wind and hail deductible, which sometimes happens because they're not fully educated on what they're getting. So keep that in mind. Have your clients reach out to Prosper. We like to be able to help them. And that's all I have. Alex, am I missing anything? Yeah, that was beautiful.
Do you guys have any insurance questions while Sarah's up there?
March 3rd, Prosper Insurance Training. I think we're gonna do another Popeye class. You guys seem to really love the Valentine Popeye class
Yes.
we did
Yes.
last week. So we're gonna do a St. Patrick's Day. Are you feeling lucky? Themed
Yes.
Popeye? Yes. Sure.
Well, it is now.
Now,
It is now.
maybe some green mimosa. I don't know.
Oh, yes. The green mimosa. Let's do it, yeah. We have mimosas and they bring the mimosas, I bring the snacks, and you guys get to do the Popeyes. It doesn't cost you a thing. They supply everything, which is the only Popeye I ever know anyone ever to do in the history of doing that you don't have to pay at least $1 for it. So it's really nice. You guys can come by. We'll have it at the Hilltop office again
Yes.
for that one, just because it was easier in and out. Yes.
No,
You're getting an airplane bottle?
she's like.
Got it. So if there's anything that you guys want to suggest on those Popeyes in the future, let Sarah or Alex know because they're super fun. And you just make as many as you want. You take them, and everyone really loved it. I mean, it was really nice. I think we had a good time. So, does anyone have any insurance questions though for Alex or for Sarah while they are here, either online or in person in here? As always, if you need to have a quote for flood,
Yeah, reach out if you need a flood zone determination, you want to find out if a property is in a high-risk flood zone, you can just reach out to us, we'll get you connected with an agent, they can look it up really quickly. If the home is in a high-risk flood zone and you'd like an estimate of flood insurance, we can do that too. We don't only just write through FEMA, we do have access to the private market flood, which is a lot of times better, less expensive than FEMA.
all right, perfect. I'm gonna stop before Lucy goes. Dave Lashanti just texted me and wanted me to let you guys know that he's with Movement. You guys have all seen him, obviously. He's the one who is sponsoring our awards at the award ceremony. Yes. So he said, get a second opinion with all pre-qualified buyers. David and Movement is offering 1,000 incentives towards closing costs right now. So get a second opinion with all pre-qualified buyers. Remember, when you're in that time frame, that doesn't hit their credit. So just get it before the next pool. Oh dear. All right, Lucy, your turn. You don't have to stand up. You're close enough. You're good.
I just want to go over, we talked last month about how to set up your signatures for your business entities on your listings. And I asked Austin about the POA because that's becoming a questionable thing as well. So you're going to need to provide a copy of the power of attorney when you turn in your listing, because I have to know who's legally doing the signing of the paperwork. And so on every signature line and every initial space, it's going to be seller's signature by person holding the power of attorney, and you can write POA or AIF or however you need to abbreviate it to make that, but that has to be noted, and it can be a text box. It doesn't have to be part of the signature. Add a text box, make sure it's noted on every initial spot of every document and every signature line. And if you have things like an estate sale or a trustee sale or that sort of thing, it's gonna be the same thing. You're gonna need to provide a death certificate or something showing who the executor of the estate is. And then that person is going to sign, they're not going to sign the seller's name in that case. They're going to sign their own name comma, executor, or comma, trustee. Okay, so all of this has to be disclosed, and you, by putting it in the signature line, that is disclosing it. It's not like we have to put out a love letter to everybody that says, hey, my aunt died, I'm the executor of the estate, and now I'm signing the paperwork. It's understood in those signature lines. So if you have questions, get with me on how to do it. If you have questions on how to make it work in BrokerMint, Carla's your girl. I don't do the technical stuff there. Other than that, the other thing I'm seeing is, unfortunately, people have stockpiled old forms and they're turning in old disclosures and old CDIFs.
Oh dear.
They're not current, so you need to make sure you've got the current forms, because I'm kicking them back. If it doesn't have the right date on it, you're gonna get it back saying, please have it done again. It's a time suck for you. It makes you look less efficient to your client. So check your dates, look at your forms, and make sure that's correct before you send them in.
Or just use BrokerMint.
Or just use BrokerMint or Instinet. Don't use what you've got saved in a folder on your computer, because they're up to date in BrokerMint. You know they're up to date in Instinet. So either one of those sources has the most up-to-date forms for you. One more request to please not ask for exemptions on documents that are not required. Don't laugh at me. Talk about time suck.
I still have to keep doing this.
We're still doing this. And it takes, I have to open each email that comes with a requested exemption, look at why you're requesting the exemption, verify that it's a required or not required form, and then go either reply to you, please don't ask for exemptions on non-required forms, or approve it and all of that stuff. So it's a time suck for all of us. Number one, you don't need to be spending your time on the computer doing that. Go get a new buyer, go get a listing. Don't ask for exemptions on non-required documents.
I mean, she's just trying to save you time. I mean, that's what I hear when I hear her say it. But she's trying to save everybody
I
time.
mean, I heard you like the first time, and I was like, I bet, noted.
Cool.
That's
That's
a
one.
lot.
That's one. We got one.
Share that
Yeah.
She came back from that something broker and told me about it.
Oh my gosh, see, look, Domino. Does anyone online have any questions for Lucy? Seems to be a reoccurring problem. We don't have any questions for Lucy.
If you have a template in your internet, will that form update if you use it? No, you have to go.
You
in.
have to,
Okay.
you have to go in and recreate your templates in all things, because you sucked that off from the mainframe of the system.
I wish it knew somehow because it's a pain, but.
Yeah. No, every time the forms are updated, so January and July, you gotta go redo all your templates.
Just those 2 times though. Yeah, just twice. Just twice, but yeah, it's fine, right? Because you don't remember it until you actually have to use the form, right?
Right.
That's when I remember it. I heard somebody online rustling a little bit. Was there a question?
Yes, it's me, Stacy.
Hey, Stacy.
Hey, guys. So, I sell a lot of the peninsula. I know Samantha does. I know Holly goes up there. We all do. And, I mean, the A cruise is always one of those questionable things. When you talk about not needed disclosures, so your listing agent puts in there, NA, okay? So NA no on the crash and noise. Don't submit a cruise. I mean, I still have a problem with that, because all of Hampton Roads is in a noise zone. It's about which one you're in. Are you in less than 65, or are you in, 75 plus? I mean, really, truly, and I know they fly over. I live in Isle of Wight. I hear Langley fly. They fly straight over. I mean, what kind of responsibility and liability do we have our clients signing, or even just signing off and not even signing a disclosure because the listing agent doesn't put one in?
If the property lies within any city housing a military air installation, Chesapeake, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, and Hampton, that ACUS is required. I'm getting a lot of kickback from listing agents in Hampton. Well, we're nowhere near Langley. Hampton's a big area. Well, guess what? Hampton houses Langley. It's a required disclosure. Now, you guys have all been battling hard to even get deals. I have not been holding feet to the fire on Hampton so much because I can look at the map and I can see it's so far away that, yeah, there's no risk of high decibel noise pollution. So I want that to be the case. Now, in Isle of Wight, we can't control where the jets fly. All we can control is the fact that we know where they originate, and those are the cities that require the disclosure.
And as a buyer, you cannot sign that disclosure. It has to be signed by the seller first. It can be up to $20,000 fine. $20,000 fine.
So if you need to have a discussion with me about a contentious situation and a listing agent not wanting to produce it, call me, text me, email me, send up a carrier pigeon, throw a dolphin my way, whatever.
I'm definitely doing it all.
We'll talk, we'll figure it out, because
I wanted to make the noise too. I'm like,
I also don't want you to have to battle any harder than you already are in this market.
Yeah, because this is the one time, like you see, look on my face, you see my face? This is the one time, because whenever it goes broker to broker, she like tags me. I'm like, y'all have, Christian, like most of you have seen like WWE and all that, right? Like I'm like this on the side, I'm like tagging it. It's the one time she's like, pow, and I get to come in and then I get to call the broker and be like, you're so wrong. I get super excited about it.
Well, just to clarify, if I may, so I'm about ready to list next month a property that is just, not too far from NASA, Langley. I mean, in my listing, I mean, even though they don't have it in that required disclosure, I'm gonna put it in there as my listing, and I'm gonna make that buyer acknowledge
Yes.
what I have.
Yes, ma'am, because you're amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't sign it and they say it's not needed, I'm not gonna, I mean, I'm just, it's gonna be hard for me to swallow. Cause I'm gonna tell you, parts of Hampton are even, I mean, they're so hard. I can literally, I've been at houses, you can touch them, I mean, how is it not in that required disclosure?
Yeah, so I will tell you that there is a secret top 5 agent list that goes on between Lucy and I. Doesn't mean how much we love you personally, but it's top 5 agents who have their paperwork correct. Stacy has been on the top 5 list for ever and ever and ever. So you're hearing from somebody who truly, like, we barely ever have to do anything with Stacy. Like when Stacy calls me,
Yeah, you pick up because you know it's serious.
yeah, and even if I always, I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's something going on, like, and so when she calls me, it's usually 9 times out of 10 I got to get an attorney involved because it's that deep. But it's something that Stacey's always been in the top 5, so there's a little secret list y'all should be trying to get into, right? We should, what we should do is at the award ceremony each year, we should have those top 5. I think we shall start it. So I think I'll add that. Hopefully the admin heard me on that one because they're making my list top 5, and Lucy and I'll give you those top 5. It should be a list y'all should be trying to get to. It's like one of those lists that are like better than anything, like it just means you're just almost perfect when it comes to things, right? So Stacy, yeah, definitely. I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm glad that we talked about it, and I am super excited to hear you back it because it really does needs to be backed, So
Thanks, guys.
great job, Stacy.
Thanks, guys.
Anyone else have anything on this?
I have a question on that.
Yes.
What is the
Did you have one too?
No,
No, okay.
no.
Sorry. I saw a hand.
What does the process look like? So if you're submitting an offer and that document's not there provided by the seller, how do you proceed in that circumstance? Like when you need to get you involved and say, hey.
Well, you're gonna start with assuming the listing agent just didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And you're gonna say, hey, my brokerage requires that this document be provided for this city. Would you please put it together and have your seller sign it and send it over so that I can have my buyers acknowledge it? Okay, you're gonna start with that. And then you're gonna remind them. And then you're gonna say, hey, I'm still missing this disclosure. what's the holdup, can I help?
And then you're gonna copy their broker at some point too. You can take anything after the first one, do that, and when you do that, you're gonna copy me, it's kind of like me in there.
But that would be before we have the website content, right?
Not always,
That's the part.
you can't wait right now.
No,
Yeah,
you
that's
can't
what I-
wait.
that's what I was thinking.
You can't
Oh, yeah,
wait.
we should be asking for the-
You need to be doing, as the buyer's agent, you need to do your due diligence, you need to pull up those acres maps, you need to know and tell your buyer what, show them the map.
Yep.
Give them the knowledge. They can then decide, I'm okay moving forward, knowing what I know from the maps that you've shown me. We'll just get it from the other side when
Yeah.
we get it.
Yeah, the battle starts after ratification, 'cause you're in.
That was my,
Yeah.
you sent that over with the contract.
Yeah.
So that was.
Yeah, so when you don't have it, you can't do it whenever we don't have it, but definitely, like, I would even, like, just get ratified and then the battle starts, because right now it's kind of crazy, so. If we have a different market would be. Any other questions for Lucy? All right, whoops. Somehow. All right, Carla, admin agenda, you are up to bat, my dear.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So what I have for you today is nothing to do with brokerment. I want to point out that we have family reunion coming up. And one of the things that they offer is digital family reunion. So there are a lot of great breakout classes. Gary Keller has a vision speech. They always have a keynote speaker. And Mo has her inspirational morning. If you've never attended family reunion or watched any of the digital breakout sessions or any of the vision speeches, and even Mo's inspirational morning, I highly, highly recommend it. So it starts on Saturday, February the 19th and runs through Tuesday morning, the 22nd. A lot goes on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I'm happy to put out a schedule of what's available and actually run these on the TVs, the overhead projector at our office, for anyone who wants to come in and watch the classes and the speeches. Like I said,
You're gonna have to do it, Carla, because I'm not here. Remember, I gotta go there.
Right. Thomasine is going to be there in person, wearing herself out. It is a lot of walking, a lot of time getting here and there, very exhausting, but well worth it to go in person when you can. But you get so much from it, and by being around other agents while you're experiencing it, it prompts a lot of dialogue between everyone, and you truly understand what Keller Williams has as far as the training, the people getting together, sharing information. I know Nikki and Munesh have been several times to family reunion in person, so they can attest to that as well. So we will be.
Bill's going
Bill?
with me. Yeah.
Yep, Bill's going too. And he's been,
Last minute.
yes,
We were
definitely.
going. Last minute, Bill decided he was heading down to do some classes, so he said, "We're going, right?" And I went, "Well, yeah."
Yes.
So off we go. And wait, one second, Carla. So we're gonna go down. I'm going to try to record as much as I can while I'm there, but she's gonna put out a schedule. It's going to be at the Hilltop office.
Yes.
It's not gonna be in a bunch of different places. This year's only gonna be there because I can't facilitate. So we're gonna have it at one place. Admin's gonna be in charge of it. They're gonna put it on the big screens there. They're gonna have it out in the lounge area, plus in the training room area. They'll have it up. She's gonna pick ones that apply to everybody, but she's going to have up. You're gonna put the schedule out pretty soon, right, Carla?
Yes, it'll be out in the next day or two. We will have signups because I need to have an idea of how many people are coming. And please keep in mind, it starts on Saturday. and it runs on Sunday. So Carla will be driving from Moyock to Virginia Beach to do this for you.
So we
So
need to make sure that
So
we,
don't stand her up.
yeah, like
Yes.
if nobody's coming, she's not gonna drive, right? So we just need to make sure that that's happening.
Yes.
And then with that, on Monday morning, right, is that the inspirational breakfast?
the inspirational breakfast is Monday or Tuesday morning, sorry, Tuesday morning from 9:30 to 11, and I will have that there. And I think holding in tradition with what Keller Williams does, they offer some light breakfast foods, coffee, orange juice, some danishes and things like that. I will have that.
Yeah, we're gonna have that. We're gonna get a sponsor for that.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have breakfast there for
but-
everybody to do it. So that'll be on Tuesday morning, but just kind of like jot it down in case you guys want to go. That was my favorite for anybody that was there last year. You all know how I felt, and I was like, the girl took my spot.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you,
So it's a good one. Go ahead, Carla.
yeah, that one, do not miss that one. If you can't make anything else, you need to hear what Mo has to share of what Keller Williams does with their KW Cares. I'm actually starting to tear up just talking about it because I've been to several of them, and you will cry. Happy tears, but you will cry knowing what all these agents and people do for people that are struggling.
Yeah. It's really
Red
good.
Day, please mark your calendars. Red Day is Thursday, May the 12th. Do not plan to do anything but help with Red Day. We always volunteer. We always need help. If nothing else, that is the day that I always wear my Red Day shirt. Sometimes I just get in a mood to wear it anyway. And I always get people that stop and say, Red Day, what is that?
We will buy the shirts for you guys this year, if anyone who's doing it. Nikki has a great person who does it. And we usually get tank tops and t-shirts, so we'll get those shirts for you guys this year. We just gotta know who's coming.
Yep.
Did Caitlin already put it on the Facebook and send out the invite?
I'm not sure, but I will make sure it gets on there, and then we'll do a poll and find out if you already have a Red Day shirt that you're going to wear, that's fine. But anyone who's newer or doesn't have a Red Day shirt, or you've messed it up, gotten paint on it, whatever, we want to get everybody to have that. If you absolutely can't come, just make that your day to wear your shirt. So any other agents, potential clients that you see you wearing that Red Day shirt.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that. We'll have Tom Untitled will sponsor the shirts if you want.
Okay.
The other thing with the Red Day is though, the other offices are asking me to join up, which is great. So we may be able to do that and actually have more than one office. I know we had already kind of discussed that. And so Prosper is a big component of that. We had talked about it like a year ago, right? Yeah. So they're going to help us out with that, but we may have other offices. Of course, I won't be buying their shirts. I'll buy your shirts. But I think that we'll be able to kind of all come together and have a really big turnout for Hampton Roads for Red Day. We're kind of discussed a few things. We got a couple things up. We just have to see if the other offices are going to join in or not. But we'll see what happens with it. Right now, they're all going back to the same place we went last year. They're all on board for that. We have to give them the other two that you and I had talked about as well, just to see what it is. But I don't really want to tell you tonight.
See if they need anything from us.
Right, because the big one, this is going to be all of Hampton Roads possibly. So, and if not, then we will do our own as always. But yeah, that's a really big one, Carla. That was a good one, Red Day for sure.
Yes. I just wanted everybody to know so that, they're planning for these dates and things coming up because, they are important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's all I have. And nobody has any questions.
Does you or Caitlin have anything? Do you or Caitlin have anything that they need to help you guys out with or do anything better? Or you're seeing a lot of errors or anything on certain items?
I mean, the only one thing that pops up quite a bit is referrals in brokerment. When you have a referral, that at the very, very beginning, before you write the buyer, broker, or start doing the listing, you have a referral. If you could just put that referral checklist in the very beginning, with all that information, the referral. Because if you don't, what happens is I get a contract, I start entering in my system, and I see that there's a note, you've said, yes, there's a referral, and I have nothing on a referral. I don't know who it goes to, how much it is, and I have to stop, message you, and wait for a response to get enough information to continue on putting that transaction in. And I can't put in any others until I finish that one, or else I have to cancel it and start all over. So the referrals are real important to have in at the beginning. That would help me out greatly. Other than that, I don't know of anything else. Caitlin hasn't mentioned anything to me.
Is there any questions you guys have for Carly, either online or here? All right, Carla, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody.
Is the baby sleeping? We didn't get to have a little introduction from her this time. Is she asleep?
She just woke up from her morning nap and actually is content playing with her feet.
Oh, so cute. All right, hon. All right, we will talk to you later. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right, so as always, we have the different things coming up. I had already went through a couple of them. We'll go back just so you can see them. So some of these are things that Ray put on as well. We always put that up there for you guys to see, so you'll know. As always, you get a text at the beginning of the week, you get a text the day of, you get a text 30 minutes before, and you get a text when we start, so that you have the Zoom link at all times. And we did that because you guys requested it, and we are made sure that it's up there. Now, join the training. Some of these, though, are in person only, such as the Stump the Broker after this meeting. We cannot record those because we're talking about actual things that are happening, like right now. So that is something we can't record because the World Wide Web is always the World Wide Web, no matter what you do. So once it's out there, it's out there. So most everything else, though, we definitely have. This February 10th, Make Calls with the Top Team is canceled. So I wanted to let everybody know that it's canceled for this week. We have another event that day, so it's canceled. The Tip Talk with me. So I know that, oh, here we go. That's supposed to be Mary Frances. Okay, so on the day tomorrow, when we do this, if you do not have your TikTok, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels set up, you definitely need to come here 10 to 11. She's going to help you make sure you are ready to go for me at 11, so that whenever we do this, I'm going to go around and be able to help you guys with those different videos. Remember, we are also going to do videos with you. When you want the videos from 11 to 1, make sure you come with the videos that you want to do. They don't have to be a 2-person, they can just be a 1-person. We'll still help you do your own video by yourself. Come with the videos you want to do. Make sure you have 2 to 3. We're going to go around. We're going to have 4 corners with the ring lights to help you guys out. Make sure you know the words of whatever it is you want to say. That's a big one. Don't come and go, I want to do this one. I go, okay, great, let's do it. And you go, I don't know the words. Make sure you practice those words. If there's ones that you don't want to say words, have something that you're doing, right? Even if it's pointy or whatever, we'll help you get the words up on the screen for it. And then on top of that, if you want and you have 2 or 3, you can bring wardrobe changes, right? Because we're going to be rotating around. So if you want to do more than 1 outfit, you can do that too. But make sure that you're at the 10 to 11 to set everything up, ready to go, because what's going to happen, because we have so many people, as I go around the 4 corners, we're going to be, okay, well, you don't have anything ready, we're going to the next one. We'll come back to you. You'll be on the next rotation because we have to keep going because we have so many, right? But there's 2 hours left. So we're going to be in there for 2 hours, and we're going to set up the ring light in different places so we can help you guys out. But just make sure you go to the 10 to 11 to be able to get that done. You know, make sure you're ready to go for the 11 o'clock. The Stump the Broker is always on Tuesdays. There is a Back at You Media training, which is this Thursday from 11 to 12. It is all online, correct? Yes. Okay, we just need to make sure she has that right line, because he said he wanted to use his link. Yes. Okay, just make sure Caitlin has that on there. Okay. So they're going to do a training on Back at You Media, which you guys get for free with us. The social media platform for you guys to use. So make sure that you're on that. I use it. They post on mine every day. So that tells you, I mean, I love it. I think it's great. And then, oops.
And anybody that's not signed up on it, go back to your welcome email and it'll tell you to email Thomasina so that she can put you on it.
Yeah.
Some people have never did that.
Well, it's in your welcome email, so if you didn't do it, then you didn't do it. I don't know. Don't we have it?
They're like, yeah, they're ready. They're ready.
Can you, Holly, can you go? What?
Holly, can you? I think you're supposed to keep going over that.
Keep going over the events.
Keep going over the events.
Weird shit in real estate.
Hurry up, Holly.
We're gonna go fast because they said they have, I don't know what happened, they must have screwed up the booking.
That weird shit in real estate is changing to Airbnb.
Okay, Airbnb.
I was gonna ask.
Well, you guys know this is all on our thing. I'm not sure we're just gonna grab another room. Holly Burns Capper. Top listing agent. So we have Kim Shepard as top listing agent by units and volume, by the way, both. And then as far as the top closing unit and agents for units and volume, we have Gail. We have the top listing team by units and volume. This is the first time we've had double on every single one. And then top buyers, by the way, they completely wiped the board last month. So they had it for the whole thing. So that's awesome. So congratulations. We are going, for anyone who wants to do Central Broker, we're going downstairs to the 15th floor. You can use the stairs. If you want to go in the elevator, follow me because you have to use the key. We're going to move because I want to be kind. I don't know what happened, but I don't want to ever have anybody stand there. But we're going to move downstairs for Stump the Broker. Everybody else, we will see you next month.
You guys take snackies. I'm gonna take one.